Hi there, this is Spencer Dennis from the Central Coast of California. And first off, I'd like to say thank you to the Golf Channel for this great opportunity to speak with you. And for those of you at home, hopefully you can learn something a little bit new today, take it to the golf course and implement it and really improve your game. So from here on out, I'd like to move in a very different direction, if I may. And the reason being is because I feel like there's so many great instructors currently out there, and there's a lot of quality information about the golf swing. I really don't think we need much more of that. So as an example, I mean, YouTube, 3,000 plus results just for simply typing in golf grip. 4,000 results for swing plane. You got the BizHub camera on there slowing everything down to the smallest degree so you can really analyze what everybody's doing. So there's really no shortage of information. There's quality instructors that have already submitted videos, but it's information we've all heard before. There's quality instructors already on the Golf Channel, so there's really no shortage of information out there. The challenge is being able to actually identify what's going to work for you and implement it into your own game. So a lot of us have more knowledge about the golf swing, but do we have more knowledge about what we're actually doing with our own golf swing? Do we know how to practice and prepare? Do we know how to even play golf? Probably not if the handicaps are actually anything to say about that. So what I propose is that we move away from this traditional instructor model, because there's already so many great instructors and the information out there is quality, and move more into a coaching model, to where as your coach, I can inspire you, motivate you, but more so just empower you. Show you ways to take this great information that's already there and make it your own, more through a process rather than most of us looking for the idea of the day. Oh man, someone told me I got to grip it like this. I got to interlock this way. I got to have it more in my fingers or less in my palm or more of both. I got to overlap. I got to triple overlap now. Well, maybe I'm going to do a 10 finger. Maybe I'm going to do cross hand. Maybe I'm going to go for the claw. Maybe my weight shift's all screwed up. So maybe I'm going to put all my weight on my front foot or all my weight on my back foot. Maybe I'm going to turn the sucker upside down and swing it from the head. There's any number of ways you can do a lot of different things. But anybody telling you this is the way, that's what I have a challenge with, because we're all very individual. So for me, for example, I had a spine fusion when I was in high school of my L3 and 4, developed a nerve disease in my left leg, and I broke my wrist. So anybody saying this is how you got to do it, I physically couldn't do it. But the thing is, I played varsity golf in high school, I played collegiately, and I played professionally. And I played at a very high level, played in the amateur, played in a lot of different big events, and had a good career. But I couldn't really do what everybody wanted me to do. So I saw a lot of great instructors, had the benefit of doing so, but I took their information and made it my own. So that's what I hope for you. I hope that we can teach you a way to walk through a process more so that you can take this information and actually implement it. So for example, I'd like to introduce the idea of periodization. Now, periodization is something that we used to do, or we still do, at these elite junior academies, which I was a coach at before. And even if I'm working with my professionals or my collegiate players or high-level amateurs or even the beginners, this is a process that we're always going to walk through, because it gives you a clear design or a clear plan for actually improving and gaining confidence. Now, it's going to be different for everyone, so each on the show, we're going to show you different examples of this. So periodization, for instance, is working you through a technical phase, a pre-competition phase, a competition phase, and an active rest phase. So when we had these players come to the academy, we trained them how to train, right? And that's what we're going to do for you. So let's say you want to work on wrist hinge. You're working with your local pro, and he says, man, that's what you got to do. That's going to change it all. Or you looked on YouTube, and you figured out, wow, that dude, he knows exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to do the wrist hinge. That's going to change everything. Well, instead of hitting balls for 30 minutes, and then taking it to the course and go, man, I'm going to dial the sucker in, and then you play terribly and then you abandon it, let's not do that. Let's work it through an actual process so that you can really see if it works, because it might just work for you. So if we're working through a technical phase, and wrist hinge is what we're really looking for, we're going to take it to here. We're going to figure out, okay, what can we do to get those wrist hinging better? But we're going to do it without a ball in front of us, see if we can do it first, because our main measure of success is whether we can actually do that movement, not where the ball goes. So we're going to use any swing gadgets that we can. We're going to use the mirror work. We're going to use a camera. We're going to hit balls, with sponge balls, and then we're going to introduce the golf ball again. But we're not going to care where the ball goes, because that kind of lies to us. That doesn't give us the true test or the true information of what we're actually doing. We want to base all of our confidence and our success on whether we can do this. So once we've done that, we're going to move on to the golf course into a pre-competition phase, and even in practice, we're going to slowly implement and move away from these techniques and start looking where the ball is going a little bit more. But when we're on the golf course, we're not going to keep score. We're going to play 2-ball scramble, best ball, from the forward tees, whatever you're going to do. You're not going to keep score. You're going to be out there just trying to get used to doing these things on the golf course. Then from there, you're going to move on, and you're going to do a competition week, or a competition phase, excuse me. And during this competition phase, you're then going to, everything you do within practice and on the golf course is going to be getting the ball in the hole. That's the main objective. You're going to be keeping score. So if you're playing a short game competition with your buddies, it's all about the competition. You're going to be shaping shots on the range. You're going to be doing, practicing your routines, pre-shot, execution, and post-shot. You're going to be keeping score on the golf course. You can do the same games of a 2-ball scramble or playing the 4 tees, but now you're going to be keeping score so that you get in that competitive mindset. Now, and then we actually move into that round that we've selected or that event that we've selected as the end game. Now, by doing so, you're going to play there, and then you're going to reevaluate the plan through our active rest phase. You're going to figure out, okay, is this plan working? Because you want to continue on these cycles, whether it be a mini cycle or a micro cycle or a macro cycle. So for those of you at home that say, wow, that sounds like a lot of work, well, it could be, but everybody's going to do it a little bit differently because we're going to be able to base it on how much time you actually have. So let's say you have an hour a week. Let's make it efficient, effective, and fun for sure, because most people view practice as work. We want to make it fun, okay? So, for example, I was working with an entire collegiate team yesterday, and I asked one of the girls, okay, what do you want to work on today? And she said, well, I'd really like to work on smoothing out my putting stroke. But we were on the golf course, so she automatically went to, well, if I'm not playing well, I'm not shooting well, I'm not keeping, my score is just not where I want it, and I'm not making putts, so obviously I'm not doing it correctly. So what we did was kind of change the way that she looked at it and said, okay, well, if you can simply, make this smooth stroke and do what you want to do, is that a success? She said, yes. Okay, so who cares about score, and who cares whether you're making putts, because that's not what we're working on. So lo and behold, she started making more putts just because she didn't simply care about whether it went in or not. She was really focused on what she was doing. So now she's able to make this nice smooth stroke and move on to something else. She's learning how to prepare and very, specialize her training. So how do we gain all this great information on how these fun ways that we can practice and moving through these different, programs and processes? Well, we're going to interview the top players in the world. We're going to interview anybody we can get our hands on that are going to help you, because I want to be your golf coach, but not your golf guru. I want to be your golf concierge or your information broker. I want to be able to point you in so many different directions of things that might help you, because we're all different, so we need to talk to different people. So from here on out, you're going to have all these different ways to improve, and we're going to look at periodization each week and try to find out, okay, if you're in this particular phase, these are things you could do. If you're in this phase, these are things you could do. Let's maximize your practice time and work you to actually playing golf. Let's empower you to be your own coach and the best player you can be. We're going to interview, again, like these top players, like I said, but we can interview sports psychologists, biomechanic experts, coaches from other sports. Again, anybody that we can find. We're going to figure out what you can do off the golf course as well as on it, because you can do a lot of things at home and you don't have to do them on the golf course, and you can still improve. So again, hopefully you can see where this process can go. I think it's time for something a little bit different. Again, I'd like to be your coach, but in the end, I hope that you could be yours. And I want to thank you, Golf Channel, for the time that you've given me today. And for those of you at home, hopefully this gives you a little idea of where you could do something different. And I hope to see you again. So thank you for your time, and best of luck out there. Thank you. All right there, this is Spencer Dennis from the Central Coast of California. And I'd like to talk today about your execution routine and how that can actually affect the rhythm of your golf swing. Now, for those of you that don't know, your execution routine is going to be that point where you go from actually picking and strategizing your shot to then walking it and actually hitting it. But the most important thing is we want to make this unique to you. So we want to make it as instinctive and as athletic as possible. That way you can always practice it and make it your own. But what we want to try to look for is that consistent process to give you that nice rhythm on the golf course. So for instance, when I'm walking into the ball, first off I'm going to pay attention to the way that I walk. Walk in nice and smooth. I'm going to then set the club down behind the ball. Take a look at the target, always moving the club and my feet, then setting the club down and swinging. That way I have a nice consistent trigger to start our swing. We don't want to be the person that completely is frozen over the ball and very tight, or the person that's going so quickly you can't even see him. It's just more of a flash of a swing than anything else. So when you're practicing at home, you want to pay attention to the amount of waggles that you're taking, the amount of looks that you're taking at the target, the way that you're moving, and that way we can always stay nice and athletic and have a nice consistent trigger to our swing, and we're focusing more on the process of what we're doing rather than where the ball could go or the mechanics of our swing. So hopefully this little tip about your execution routine can help you make better swings on the golf course, have more fun, and shoot lower scores. Thank you for your time.